Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is Darrell. He's a professional athlete. He's an extreme sports activist, and he's just a really cool guy that's into meditation and yoga and ice baths, the things that I love.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out, dude.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of
Good to
course.
be here.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
You guys don't know this, but he cooked me a delicious meal before this,
I did.
and it was spicy. It was very spicy.
Was it like too spicy
No,
or?
it was perfect.
All right, good,
I
bro.
loved it.
That's good. I'm glad you did. It was my specialty, which I like to cook. So what's going on, man?
Dude, nothing much. I mean, you and I met a couple weeks ago.
That's true. At the
We-
ice bath.
We've been getting into like this deep breathing stuff.
Yes.
And as our mentor says it, we're building willpower bullets by getting into ice baths afterwards.
I didn't hear him say that, but that's also
I love that term, willpower bullets.
so.
And the first, I think it was the first time I met you.
Mm-hmm.
So the requirement is that we sit in the ice bath for 5 minutes. But
Yes.
the first time I met you, you were like, dude, let's do 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right, let's do it. And then
Well,
the next time it was 11 minutes.
Yeah, it
and-
was 11. I thought it was 9, but he just took us to 11
Yeah.
minutes. And that's Palouse, by the way, at Inner Alchemy
Oh, yeah.
Living. Super cool guy. What do you like about the ice baths, bro?
Man, the first time I did it, it was such like a mind block. Like
How
I,
so?
I actually suffered the full 5 minutes. Like I never went into the meditation.
Really?
Mhm.
Did that hurt?
It did hurt. It
So
definitely.
explain the difference so most people that don't know.
Yeah. So the you you sit in the ice bath and you go into fight or flight mode, and your body thinks it's dying and that you're going to get hypothermia. But if you can kind of calm your senses and breathe deeply through your nose and breathe slow, you'll fall into kind of this meditative state, and you release that fear, and it all of a sudden, for me at least, I don't know about you, but I experienced this like really intense euphoria after about 30 seconds.
Don't experience euphoria, but I just become very calm
Mm-hmm.
and just because I'm always hyper.
Yeah.
For me to get into that calm state is that's like a creative state where you can build.
Yeah.
Your dreams or
And that's how I feel every time. Like I might be anxious going into it, and every
Mhm.
time I come out of it, I'm like mellowed out. I'm out of my overthinking brain,
Nice.
and I just feel good. And I will say that, like, that time that we sat in for 11 minutes, like
Mhm.
6 or 7 minutes in, I started really shivering. Like you do get cold.
That was the win, bro. That was
Yeah.
the win.
You
that
do
time.
get cold. Like
Yeah,
it's
you
not
do
like
get
you're
cold, of
invincible
course.
to it. Although there are some people like Wim Hof who like sit in the water for like
I mean, but
2 hours. But
how long has he done it for, bro?
I think he's been doing it his whole
Yeah,
life.
like 40 years.
So
yeah,
pretty soon you and I are gonna be just like
that's
Wim
true.
Hof, man.
Wait, was the 11 minutes your longest time you were in the ice bath?
I think so. Yeah, I think I've done it before because Palouse really likes that 11-11
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
The magic number,
Yep.
And so I've done that a couple times before with him, but never in the winter. Like the times I had done it 11 minutes were in the summer, so it was like easier to heat up afterwards.
Oh, okay. I just started in the winter. He's like, "Oh, you just did it the hardest time."
Yeah.
He's like, "It just gets easier from here." I was like, "Cool, I'll
Yep.
take it."
Yep.
So you said there was a mental block the first time you went in, like you didn't really break down.
I wasn't able to like fall into that meditative state. The whole time I was like, this is hard. This is not natural. I shouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah.
And and the first actually few times I did it, I just kind of really suffered through it. And it wasn't until I went this winter, I went a few times and then I took off maybe like 6 months not
He's
going.
like, "This is not for me."
Yeah, I was like, I don't know about this. It's a little
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much,
yeah.
whatever. And life got really busy. I mean, there was a lot of factors that went into it. And then I came back, and the first night I went was like right after Valentine's, and we had like a couple of days where it was like 10 degrees. It was like some of the coldest days we'd
remember
had
that.
all year. And I remember we went through the breathing stuff, and then we go out to the ice bath, and I was like, Palouse, like, is it okay to do it this cold? Like, it's 10 degrees
Bro,
outside.
people doing
And he was like, yeah, dude, you're fine. Like, and I was like, do people ever like jump out because they can't handle it? And he's like, no, dude, nobody ever does. Of course, like people do, but like that's Palouse.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
that's Palouse.
no, dude, like whatever, you're fine.
No one
And
ever.
so he takes out like a hammer because the ice is frozen
Uh-huh.
in the bath like 4 inches deep.
Uh-huh.
And he starts hammering it, breaks it up for me, and I sat in there, and I love it. He does this thing where he like puts his hand on your shoulder, and he's like, breathe, and he's like, now imagine yourself
On
a
fire.
fireball.
Yeah.
You know, you are a fireball. Like your body can do this. You can handle it. And like a minute in, super calm. Like the ice was like refreezing around me while I was sitting in it, while I was
That's cool.
sitting in the water. Super cool. And I handled it just fine.
5 minutes?
And yep, just yeah, only 5 minutes.
Nah,
But
that's cool. That's good,
but that
bro.
was my first time back, and yeah, I mean it's never easy. I don't know if
No,
you've
it's not.
experienced this, but
Yeah.
like every time I like sit
It's not easy,
and I
bro.
look at the water and I'm like, oh, this is
But
what am I doing, you know? And then
yeah,
I get in it, and every time it happens, and I'm able to get into that state, and it's
but there's a
it's
sense
a
of
cool
victory.
experience
There's a sense of victory
for sure.
when you're done. You're like, I did this. I conquered my fear. I conquered my body. I
Mhm.
conquered what science tells me that I could get hypothermia within 3 minutes.
Yep.
I conquered all that. So there's a sense of victory. It's not fun per se because it's cold. It's literally your body's really, really cold. But when you're able to
It's kind of
overcome that,
fun.
I mean, I like the mental challenge of it.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you took 6 months off and you were really busy. Do you
Mhm.
think if you just kept meditating constantly and you kept doing the ice baths,
Mhm.
life wouldn't be so busy for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing is I didn't prioritize it,
Yeah.
right? I think like
Go right here a little bit. There you go.
yeah,
There's the mic right there.
when I was technical difficulties. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
we got
Boom,
it.
right there. You got it. You
We got it.
comfortable?
Yeah.
Good.
I think so. Um I think like you kind of have to be open. You have to be at the right stage of your life to at least I did to like take in breath work and to like get into ice baths. Like I'm a huge skeptic.
Joe Dispenza says you have to surrender yourself to the moment, which is it. When you're in the ice bath, dude, you can't be thinking about paying your bills, getting
Mhm.
into a fight with your girlfriend. You have to be in the freaking moment,
Yep.
like mentally
Yep.
be
It
there,
it does definitely bring you into the present.
which is awesome.
But I think that during the summer I wasn't quite there. Like
Yeah,
I wanted to be, but I wasn't quite there. It felt good. I could see it was like a good community to be a part of, and I could tell there was something there that I wanted to like double click on, you
yeah.
know?
How did you hear about it though?
I met a girl through dating that goes.
You're
Um
not dating her anymore?
no, we like I don't think we ever really dated, but I met her through like a dating app, and she
Mm,
had a picture in the ice.
nice.
And I was like, "Oh, what is that?" Like, I'd love to learn more. I'd love to know what you're doing
So
there.
you're just trying to hit on her and trying to find out what that is. Nice.
Yeah, it was hitting on her, and then
Yeah, you good, bro.
there we go.
Boom. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's super rad. We're great friends. She still goes all the time. Um,
Some girl actually told me about it too. We were in the steam room or the
mhm,
sauna,
mhm.
and like she was cute, but whatever. I didn't hit on her, but she's like, yeah, we do the breathing, and like calms you down. It was more of the breathing that I went to,
Yeah.
and she's like, you could jump into the ice bath if you want to afterwards. And then like I thought about it, I was like, should I do it? Should I not? And I'm like, what the hell am I thinking about, bro? Just freaking do it. Like, what do you have to lose here? Well, like,
And,
what do you have to lose?
yeah, dude, I'll tell you what, like that's been my mentality. So to I got like pretty low this winter. Like I get depressed and I get stuck in these states, and
Do you think that has to do with you doing a lot of like extreme sports and you're always on that adrenaline high and then you come down?
that could be. I mean, it could be like a seasonal defective disorder
Yeah, that
thing
too,
where I
man.
get into the winter and I'm just like not as happy. But in general, I'm an intensely emotional person, and I feel the world through my emotions, and I experience a lot of sad emotions.
That's cool.
And so I had, I got really low because of some things this winter, and I had some really bad habits that I had picked up.
Do you think the breathing and the ice bath helped?
I mean, so here's the thing. I I had met Palouse during the summer, and maybe I like went for like a month
Yeah,
to
yeah.
his thing, but then I stopped going. But he and his wife Cass like never stopped reaching out to me. They'd reach
That's
out to me
awesome,
like
bro.
once a month. They'd be like, "Hey man, like we're gonna have music this Sunday. We think you'd really enjoy it. You should come." So it was always kind of like in the back of my mind. But I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't in that place where I was like ready to say yes to like changing my life, right?
Yeah. Or your
And
mindset.
my mindset just wasn't there. I had to be brought really low. I had to be humbled. And
That's good.
I went through something that really humbled me, and I had a, kind of this awakening, and I was like, I kept thinking,
What is the awakening to you, bro? Because I asked different people and they say different things. I mean, I kind of got the answer from someone else, but what do you mean by
for,
awakening?
for me, it was like I would get in these ruts, and I'd be like, damn, am I ever gonna get out of this? Like, am I
Well,
ever going to be able to like
so
get out of this?
the
And for me, the awakening was I had this very vivid, very strong experience where it was like you are trying to go around everything. You're not facing any of your difficulties. You're just trying to get around them. You're looking for something that you can do that
like skate through them.
will just escape the problem.
Okay.
You you can't do that anymore. You have to face life head on. You have to face your problems head on. And it's gonna take work, and it's not gonna be easy,
Yeah, it's
and
never
there's
easy.
and it's gonna be a struggle, and it's gonna be painful, and you're not gonna be into it every single day, and you're not gonna always have motivation every
Like the
day.
ice baths.
And when I accept it, it's almost like you accept that like life is gonna hurt and it's not gonna be easy, and then you stop resisting the struggle of life, and then all of a sudden the funny thing is life gets easier once you
Yeah, it
start
does,
having
bro.
that mentality. And
Well,
so Palouse texted me and he was like, dude, I'm gonna start doing this like morning breathing class. And I started showing up to that, and like within a couple days I was like, oh,
you mean
this
the
is,
online one?
yeah, the online one.
Nice. I haven't done any of that. I
It's
haven't
great.
worked at seven,
It's a great way to start the day, and like I needed to get back in a routine, and you know, all of a sudden I had all these like positive chemicals flowing through my brain
yep.
from the breathing I was
Mhm.
doing, and I was creating motivation for myself. You know,
Nice.
before I was like, I don't have any motivation. Like I know I need to get out of
Wait,
where
wait,
I'm
wait.
at, but
Wait.
like I don't have any motivation. And by changing your habits and by doing good things for yourself, showing yourself this love, you're you create that you create that willpower and that motivation
And you
yourself.
create your future.
Mhm.
Nice. I like that.
Yep.
So you said you don't have motivation. What's the longest you ran? You said like 68 miles within
All right.
24
Well, I
hours.
didn't have motivation to get myself out of my rut, but I've always had motivation to run or mountain bike or rock climb. Like I really like movement.
Okay, so you do these like ultra marathons
Mhm.
and these long, long races where legitimately it is magic, bro. To like people, like normal people, it is because most people can't run more than like 3 miles, 2 miles at a time. It's not that they're on shape; yeah, they're probably out of shape. Say, no one's to run 5, 6 miles, but you could do like 60 miles
Yeah.
nonstop. Like, what the hell goes through your mind, bro? Like, does your body go numb after a while? Do your feet go numb? Do you tell yourself, "I'm not gonna stop until I'm done"? Like, what happens here?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I've been, before I was into ultra marathons, I raced mountain bikes
Mm-hmm.
competitively, and I built up in my 20s and in my teens, I built up a lot of fitness.
Okay. So you build the stamina up to it.
I built the stamina up, but I'm just a very competitive person, and I realized that I really liked long distances. So instead of just like an hour long race where your heart rate is maxed out and you're
Yeah.
just like destroying yourself and you're drooling because it's so intense, right? Like,
I
um,
guess, yeah.
yeah,
I've done races where it's like 30 seconds
yeah,
swimming.
yeah. See,
50
it's
meters.
not a sprint. Like I'm not like a sprinter. I don't have like much twitch muscle in my
Got it.
body, but I can like maintain a really steady tempo pace for a long time.
You can like what do you think? Like do you like tell yourself about a movie you saw? Like do you think about life when you're doing it? Because that something has to go through your head. Do you
It's
even have headphones on?
I
Like
do
music?
I do often listen to music. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll switch back and forth. I really like being out in nature. I like hearing the
Nice.
birds. So it but sometimes I mean, with every long event or race,
Uh-huh.
like you're going to experience darkness. You're going to like lose motivation. You're going to question why you're doing it. It's almost that moment that like 20 seconds into the ice bath where it's like
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing this. This isn't
Yeah.
right.
That's only happened
And
to me
when
once
really,
in the ice bath. It was the one day where it was, I think you missed it. It was a Sunday. It was like slushy.
yeah,
It was like legit.
I
It
remember
wasn't
that day.
ice. So what happens is in the ice bath, it's over it. It's still cold as hell in there. So this was slush inside. So legitly, it's like your body's touching it,
Yeah,
and it just hurt.
yeah.
And I was like,
It
oh
stings.
yeah,
It
dude, it
stings.
does.
And I mean, that's a 5 minute experience in an ice bath, but that happens in a 5 hour race where you're like, I can't do this, and that's something I find really fascinating is because time and time again, I've experienced that moment of I want to quit and I didn't. I was able to push through.
There's that
And so
wall.
okay, I accept that there's going to be pain. I
Hmm.
accept that I'm going to want to quit at some point,
Okay.
but I know that I can push through. And I find it fascinating to know what my limits are, to see what my limits are. And so I mountain biked for a long time. I was really into that. I got kind of burnt out from mountain biking.
Okay.
I still love riding my bike, but I decided to get into running a little bit, and I have less of an ego with running, meaning I am not as competitive in it.
Okay.
It's more of, can I finish this? Can I start a 50-mile race and actually finish
Woo!
it?
How long does that take? I don't
I
even
mean,
know.
it just depends. It depends how
I did one
how much
marathon.
uphill or downhill there is in the course, because these aren't flat courses. They usually are in the mountains. So,
So I did one marathon,
mhm.
and I told myself no matter what, I'm not gonna stop, and I didn't. It
Yeah,
took me like right around 4 hours,
nice.
and I blew out my Achilles and never ran again.
Oh,
But
no. Yeah, you got to listen to your body though.
I mean,
That's the thing is I like we talked a little bit about this before, but I've never had a serious injury, and I think that's because I have all that base fitness
yeah,
from biking. But I have noticed that in my 30s, I have to go do physical therapy. I got to go to the gym. I got to strengthen my legs. I got to
yeah,
strengthen my joints. Like I can't just go hard every single day. Like I have to balance my body out. I have to strengthen my body. It can't just be that same repetitive motion of running every single day. I gotta
ha-
mix it up.
nice. Do you meet a lot of people that have like type A personality? Like they're like I don't care. I'm doing fish no matter what. Whoever gets in my way, I'm gonna step on. But you don't seem like that person. You seem more like the happy guy. Like I want to do this because I'm bettering myself. Like some people are like, I knew people because I used to train triathletes
Mhm.
as far as swimming goes,
Mhm.
and they're dicks, bro. They're legitimately fucking dicks. They are. I'll say it on air, and I'm gonna post this. Because you have to have that mentality to go that far and that long. You
Mhm.
can't like let anything stop you. You have to train 2, 3, 4 hours a day,
Yeah.
and you have to have that certain mindset.
I mean, there are a lot of type A, very intense personalities in these kinds of sports.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are very successful, and some of them get in their own way sometimes with their
Yeah.
intensity. So sometimes these are the ones that have the injuries that
Yeah.
are chronically injuring themselves because they're pushing too hard and they're
Yeah.
doing too much. And I've definitely fallen into this place where I like to race. I do like to race, but I'm doing all of this stuff just because it's fun to do.
Yeah. That's like me in swimming.
And one of my favorite things in ultra running is this phrase. And I don't know if you're familiar with Rich Roll. He has a podcast.
No.
But I'll give credit. This was from the Rich Roll podcast. He says, in ultra running, run when you can, walk if you must, crawl if you have to. And that's one of my favorite things about ultra running is you can walk. If you can't run anymore, take a break and walk. If you can't walk anymore, crawl for a minute. But chances are, if you're eating right, if you're putting
Yeah.
nutrition into your body, you're going to come out of those dark moments and then you're going to be able to run again.
That's very true, brother. That's
So,
I agree. Yeah.
but it does take some base fitness to be able to do that. Like if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go run a 50 miler, like yeah, you got to build up to it. You got
Yeah.
to be training. You got
Yeah.
to.
Unless you're David fucking Goggins, bro. That motherfucker did 110 miles with no training. Or like
Yeah,
102 miles or something like that. So
yeah,
this David Goggins is some super ultra marathon guy
yeah.
that has like I think he has split personality disorder.
Yeah. He's
So
he might have that type A personality
yeah.
where he's really intense, and I
So
think he's injured himself and kept
numerous
going.
times.
Yeah,
He apparently broke both of his knees and he went through
yeah,
Navy SEALs training and he just finished it
yeah,
and with broken knees.
yeah.
And I don't know how you could do that, but so this guy wanted to raise money for his friend.
Uh-huh.
So he decided to run a race without any training. That was 102 miles, bro.
Yeah.
And he's all like, all right, I don't know how I'm going to do this, rest. And then once the thing went off, he ran 73 miles nonstop.
Nonstop.
He stopped for like 10 minutes. He was pissing blood.
Yeah.
And like he was about to go into shock, right? And
Yeah.
his wife at the time, it was a nurse, is like, we need to take you to the fucking hospital.
Mhm.
You're dying. And he's like, no, fuck this. He gets up and he runs another 25 miles nonstop.
That guy's got some amazing willpower.
Yeah. But yeah, and then after that, apparently the reason he did that because he was training for a different race. It was called the Bigfoot 202
Uh-huh.
in Death Valley,
Uh-huh.
where it's like 95 degrees
Yeah.
and they run like 202 miles
So-
nonstop.
It's crazy.
And he fucking did it.
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, but he hurt himself.
Right.
But he doesn't care. He just keeps doing it.
Yeah. And see, I'm not at his like. I want to be a little smarter about it. I don't want to hurt myself. I want to be training right. I want to be ready for those kinds of things. So my mentality with races is if I haven't experienced something similar in training,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the race. I'm going to build up to it
Yeah.
in my training. I'm going to expose myself to the types of conditions I'm going to experience in a race. I'm going to be doing that kind of terrain. I did before I did my first 50-mile race, I
Uh-huh.
did a 50-mile run
You just ran
on
50
my
miles?
own, self-supported. And that not everybody does that. Not everybody has that mentality, but racing is fun, but just being out there and doing things, doing activities for the sake of
Yeah.
doing them is actually more enjoyable to me.
100%. Do you think meditation has helped you?
Absolutely.
How so?
Um,
And how long do you meditate, bro? On average,
uh, I mean,
it depends on the days.
with the breath work that I'm doing, it can be anywhere from a half hour to an hour a day.
Nice. And how do you think that's helped you as far as like you training and just
What-
having a better state of mind?
One, it's gotten me really in tune with my breath,
Yeah.
and breath is obviously really important
Yeah.
when you're exercising for long
It's
periods
important
of
for
time.
anything, bro. I'm in sales and
Mhm.
there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of pressure.
Mhm.
That shit could get to people's heads.
Yeah.
I concentrate on the breath, produces diaphragm breathing,
Mhm.
and like the stress goes down.
Yep.
I have more control of the situation, less emotions. I'm thinking more clearly.
Mhm.
It just helps with everything.
Exactly. Yeah, so there can be moments in a race where I'm going through a dark time, or moments in an activity where I'm going through a dark time, and I check in on my breathing. Okay, where am I at with my breathing? Oh, I'm taking shallow breaths. All right, I'm going to take some deeper breaths. Usually that's very helpful. But also, I mean, I get into meditative states when I'm exercising. You
Yeah.
know, you asked like, how do you do it? Like, where does your head go? I would say like first hour of an activity, I can sometimes really be in my head and I can be like, oh, can I do this? And I get to a point where I just like accept. Okay, all right, I signed up for this. I'm going to go do 50 miles. It's going to hurt. Like, I've got some nagging little pains in my body, but like I can zone in on the goal of completion, and that's all that matters to me in that moment. And it simplifies things, and my body goes through periods in these long races where I don't feel much pain or I don't feel much discomfort. I'm in a flow state.
Yes, it's a runner's high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Runner's high. So it's legitimately like a euphoric state when
Mhm.
you're really, really genuinely happy.
Yeah.
And like you have a spike in endorphins in your
Mhm.
brain. Legitimately, that's a real thing. I've gotten that numerous times. It turns that's why people have like love to run, like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
'Cause you're runner's high.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you said you're in the zone or flow.
Mm-hmm.
For people that don't know what flow is, that means like you're just right there. You're in the moment
Mm-hmm.
of what you're doing,
Yep.
just in flow, your natural state.
Everything quiets down.
Yeah,
Just like when you're in deep meditation, the all the all the chatter in your brain,
yeah.
it just kind of goes away, and you're just kind of there with yourself, fully present in that moment.
We were talking earlier when I told you right when I wake up, I don't like to take an ice bath. I like to meditate
Mhm.
because you're like half asleep, half awake.
Mhm.
You don't really have that chatter in your head
Yeah.
because you're not fully awake where you're like, I have to pay my bills, I have this to do today. You're still kind of like lucid, so that's a good time to meditate.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna try that.
Try that, brother. Try that
Mm,
tomorrow. Right when you wake up, don't go pee because
Yeah.
that's your body trying to fight you.
Yeah.
Just jump in for 20 minutes.
Just
Dude,
jump in
you'll
and
see
do
you're
some
like,
meditation.
yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
it turns into an hour.
Yeah.
Like today I did an hour.
Yeah.
Like usually it's 30 minutes I do in the morning and then like 30 minutes for lunch and an hour at night.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But
All right, I'll do it.
yeah, do it, bro. Let me know. Text me. I mean, we're in a chat. It's called the 5 a.m. group.
Yeah.
So right before 5 a.m., we all just text each other.
Yeah.
My phone's on
So
silent, so
we're accountability partners.
Yeah,
and,
we are.
and
We
making
are.
sure we get up.
but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, next week I'm going to Los Angeles, so I have an extra hour. But still, I'm still in
Yeah.
the chat. Yeah,
Okay. Good.
yeah.
We'll
But
hold you to that,
thank you.
and we'll shame you if you don't.
Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Do. That's a good way to motivate people
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the best
It's
way.
a certain kind of motivation.
Yeah.
Probably love is a better motive. I don't know.
Yeah,
Shame. It's good motivation.
yeah. But I think just
Palouse, if you're listening.
he probably is. But that's a good way, right? Just having like an accountability partner as a runner.
It's definitely huge. Yeah, because if you don't have that, if you don't have somebody that's holding you to it, it's so easy to for your alarm to go off and
Yeah,
and just
snooze it.
and just be like, no, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go back to bed.
Yeah, but so you say when you're running, I want to ask you, you're in that flow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you visualize the finish line? Is that in your head?
Absolutely. Yeah, so there's a few things that I love to visualize. I love to visualize the finish and how it's gonna feel
But
when I finish. So
that's what I told you earlier.
yeah, that's the visualization. That's
With an elevated emotion.
yeah, that's the manifestation almost.
Yeah.
Of what that finish is gonna be like. But also, I like to think about in those really dark moments of the race. I like to think about loved ones.
So when you mean dark
Interesting.
moments, do you mean like it
Wh-
hurts? I want to
When
stop.
my
this
motivation is low, when my
Okay.
energy is kind of crashing.
character building moments.
Yeah,
that's
you
what
know.
builds character.
Yep,
That's what I like to call it.
yep.
Yeah. Okay. Got
So
it.
I'll think about loved ones. I'll think about people that I love. So that right there, I think, is tapping into love as a motivator. And I'm telling you, man, like that has brought me out of some pain caves
That's awesome.
just to think about people I care about.
Does it help when they're there? Actually,
Very
cheering
much.
you up.
Dude, I can't even tell you when people that I love come spectate for me and I see them at they have what are called aid stations, or they
Yeah.
have little areas where spectators can drive to and see.
Yeah.
And when I see people that I know, I mean, the amount of joy that brings me and motivation that brings me is hard to describe, dude. I've cried in moments.
Have you?
Oh, hell yeah. In races where I'm going through something and I see somebody come and spectate and cheer me on, and it's just like a flood of beautiful emotions when that happens. It's cool, man. It's cool.
And that's definitely the science behind it. So there's a lot of people that I bring on that do magic, but this is a science, dude. There's a science of motivation too,
Yeah.
and just willpower, mental toughness.
Yep.
Dude, I've done a marathon. I mean, I could picture it, and it hurt a lot finishing. I
Yeah.
mean, I was training. I did up to 15 miles easy,
Mm-hmm.
but not 26. There's just one hill in Los Angeles. I did the LA marathon where you go up and then you just go down the last 5 miles.
Yeah.
Dude, going down, it hurt more.
Yeah.
It hurt more for some reason because
Yeah.
it was the end. But people were cheering me on, bro. I saw people's eyes. They're like, "Don't stop."
Yep.
And I was but I hurt myself.
Yeah.
But my legs, I'm flat-footed too. I'm not supposed to run.
Uh-huh.
So it was just numb. And
Mhm.
I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not stopping, dude, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I did it.
So that determination, man.
Yeah, and that was the last one.
Yeah.
First and last. But
Yeah.
you do
I'm
double.
I'm flat-footed too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, don't let somebody tell you that you're not born to run. You're born to run. You
I
you just
mean,
got you just got to work with it.
I'm born. Yeah, yeah. You just gotta work with it.
It,
Do you have
it
special shoes?
I have a brand of shoes that I really like that
Yeah,
tend to give me the support I need. But I also do in physical therapy, I do a lot of workouts with my arches where I'm strengthening my feet.
that's awesome.
Um, I I really try and shy away from um limiting myself.
I mean,
Like if somebody's like, so many people are like, oh dude, you can't run that far. Like you shouldn't be running that far.
why?
That's
Like,
bad for you
fuck
and stuff.
you.
And I don't like that. I don't want to limit myself.
Like
Like
that certain individual.
I get to decide what my limits are,
Yeah,
not somebody else.
yeah. And
So
you have to push yourself to your limits.
yep.
Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot.
So I mean, there are obviously like people have health issues and people can have issues with their feet and stuff like that. And you got to be careful. You got to be smart about things. But I think in general, we give ourselves limitations, and once our mind has decided what those limitations are, they become a reality. And so
Yeah,
I want as part of my meditation practice is to explore these limitations that I give myself because I think I'm capable of even more than I've
nice,
experienced. So.
nice. I like that a lot. And you're absolutely right, bro. You even with people that have certain genetic disorders and stuff like that, there's something called epigenetics, bro.
Mhm.
Where you can actually shut that off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Epigenetics.
You never heard of it?
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't.
Yeah. So Joe, it was one of Joe Dispenza's friend. His name is what's his name? Something Braden. Um, Bruce Braden or something like that. Where he's the one that coined the term, and he's like, through meditation,
Mhm.
you can actually shut that off. So if like someone has like a certain genetic disorder,
Mhm.
you can literally shut that off. There's science that proves this, bro. Like
Really?
tens of thousands of studies. Yeah.
Huh. I love it.
So yeah, I mean it's just the power of meditation. That's why I always like encourage people to do it, bro. The
Yeah.
reason I started doing it is because like I read all these successful people were doing it
Mhm.
at least 20 minutes a day. All these billionaires, really like successful athletes, and I was like, hey, if they're doing it, why shouldn't I do it?
Yeah.
And then boom,
Yeah.
just changed my life.
Yep.
Like I feel more centered, more calm. I realized like certain things that are supposed to bother me don't.
Mhm.
Like if something happens at work, things go wrong. So no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I
Yeah.
got this. Yeah,
Isn't
it's
that
out of my.
amazing?
It is.
It's amazing.
It is. But
Because I've been the kind of person that can be very reactive to if something goes wrong at work.
right.
And I'm telling you, like in the last couple months, just tuning into my breath and getting into meditation,
Yeah.
like it's still there, but I'm handling it in a really different way.
Well, before you were being reactive, now you're being proactive.
Mhm. Oh, I
Which
love
is
that.
you like that, right?
Yeah.
Don't be reactive, be proactive, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. I mean, think about it. Even other people say like you say people try to control you to piss you off in a relationship. And you're like, you don't understand this person did this and they're like did this and Joe Dispenza, which I always highly quote,
Mhm.
says, so you're telling me you're allowing that person to control the way you think and feel? Don't. Just brush it off.
Yeah.
People could do anything, bro. They could cuss out my mom, this, that. I mean, like I could choose to stand there and fight them,
Yeah.
hurt myself, hurt them, get arrested, just walk away, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually learned this week, Palouse, in our little morning learnings, we learned about stoicism, which a lot of people think like the kind of like new definition of stoicism is just to like not have emotions.
It's
But
not
but
having.
what it is learning to be in control of your emotions.
Yes.
So, yes, you still have emotions. You still feel anger. Rage might still be there, but you work with those emotions and you let them out in a productive way as opposed to a reactive way.
Yes,
Love it.
100%. And here's the thing most people don't understand being courageous and brave doesn't mean you have a lack of fear.
Mhm.
It means you have that fear and you still fucking do it anyways.
Dude,
Like
that's such an important principle right
that
there.
is,
I
bro.
mean, that's got to be one of the most important things that I've learned in my life is like,
Yeah.
oh, you fear something? It's time to see why.
Yeah. Well,
It's time. It's time to face it.
for me, it used to be like walking up to random girls and talking to them
Ooh.
because there's a lot of cute girls and like there's social pressure,
Yeah.
and like now I'm able to overcome that, bro. It feels good. It's liberating.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
liberating.
I still struggle with that one.
I mean,
But I should go. I should go face that fear
yeah,
more,
you should.
shouldn't I?
Well, the worst thing they could do, bro, is just say no. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
Right.
it. Yeah,
Right.
that's it. Um, One other thing, when you said face your fear, like when I started the ice baths, I was like, oh, I'll go in for a minute,
Mhm.
it'll hurt, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're going in 5 minutes. I was like, I guess I'm going in 5 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
given the choice.
And there's definite fear there.
Yeah,
I mean,
there
that
is,
is
bro.
fear
I
when
was-
you're staring at that
yeah.
icy water. Yeah, it's fear.
Yeah, I mean, I was super nervous because he got this big ass, what do they call it, like wooden log that was like 4 feet, and he just started breaking the ice.
Yeah, yeah.
And like there's like sharp edges. He's like, be careful, that could cut you. He just pushes it out of the way. He's like, what do you wait for? Get it? I was like, okay. So I just went in 5 minutes, and it really helped because I was concentrating on my breath.
Yeah.
And he's like, your body's gonna go into parasympathetic, which is
Mhm.
fight and flight. He's like, you concentrate on your breath. He's like, you're gonna control yourself.
Yeah.
And I did, and boom, dude. Next thing I know, 5 minutes is done.
Yep. And every time you have an experience where you face a fear
Mm-hmm.
and realize you didn't die, you make that connection in your brain and you become stronger for
Yeah.
it and you become better. It's like you're lifting the weights, and you're getting stronger
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
being
it's-
able to face more fears.
I
And
mean, like a mental muscle in a sense.
you're building. Yep, exactly.
The way I saw it was there's a barrier, and I just broke through that barrier, bro.
Yeah.
What's the next barrier I could break, or what's a barrier in my life I could break? I'm making 80, 90,000 a year. I could break that 100,000
Love
mark
it.
or 200,000.
Yeah, it can be applied to so
yeah,
many things.
yeah. You do 50, 60 miles. Fuck you. Maybe you want to take it up to 100,
Yeah.
which
I-
is possible.
I will. I'll definitely do a 100-miler. I did I did a 24-hour race this year, and I never thought that would be something.
Why
that I
would you
could do.
never thought you would be able?
I don't know. Like, yeah, that was a
That
limit.
mental barrier?
That was a limitation that
That
I
was that
had.
mental barrier.
And that was like when I was a mountain biker, when I was like, oh yeah, like maybe I'll get into ultra marathons, but like
Mhm.
50 miles seems pretty reasonable. I'm not
Mhm.
going to go above that. But I did 68 miles in that, and I didn't die. Here I
Yeah.
am. I'm still here.
yeah.
I
Then you-
completed it, and
Good.
I'm
You're-
like
you're
I'm like
healthy.
okay, well I guess that's not my limit, so let's raise it up. What's
Yeah.
up?
Good.
We'll
Good.
see.
On the last note,
Yeah.
I always like to ask people this question at the end. What advice would you have for people? Because you said sometimes you have those dark moments, or you have that rut, not in a race, but just in life in general, bro. Let's just
Mhm.
say some people are down.
Mhm.
They lost a family member. They're in depression or sad, or they're fat. They're unhealthy.
Mhm.
And they're just looking for a sign or something to get out of that rut.
Yeah.
What advice would you be able to give them?
I mean, I talked a little bit about like manifestation and like seeing yourself at the end of a race, or like seeing yourself out of that problem. But another thing that's very important to me is all I actually really have to do in the moment is put one more foot forward.
Oof, I love
and
it.
so
I love
I
it.
can actually, less so in races but more so in life, I can get overwhelmed by, oh, I want to be here and I'm so far from that. And it's been very good for me to actually zoom in and take one foot at a time. I only have to face one problem at a time. I like the metaphor of being on a path up a mountain, and it's covered in trees, and I have to actually chop each tree down individually to get up the path. One tree at a time.
Is that like one step at a time?
One step at a
I love it,
time.
brother.
Take one tree down at a time. And so it's and when you're doing that, when you're thinking in that of one step at a time, you're thinking of the process. And
Yeah.
really, for me, the way that I've gotten out of ruts in my life is to become more absorbed in the process and fall in love with the process, as people say,
And just be in the moment.
and be in the moment. And I think by zooming in like that, I'm less overwhelmed by how far away I am from what I want to be, and I'm able to actually accomplish things one step at a time.
Nice.
There's no, I don't think there's such thing as when you're in a rut in life, when you're depressed, and if you're out of shape, there's no such thing as like, oh, I ran and the next day I'm a professional athlete. Like, it's going to be a process.
Yeah,
Like,
it's definitely a process.
it's going to be a couple miles a day, or go do a mile, or um, change your eating habits, but it's just one day at a time,
Yeah, yeah, and if
we
you
try to do too much, I
yeah,
think,
I
at a
think
time
so.
sometimes,
Or
and
compare ourselves to other people that have been doing it for 20 years,
exactly,
like Wim Hof, dude. Like me and you are just starting.
right?
Motherfucker's been doing it for 40 years, bro, by himself. People mocked him for
Yeah.
25 years,
It's a perfect example.
and he didn't stop. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. If you like this episode, go ahead and subscribe. And you guys have a great day and take life one step at a time.
Love it.